Everyone in the lead generation space seems to be talking about how complicated and difficult cold email is at getting qualified leads, when in reality, it's not cold email that's the problem. It's the way they're going about setting up and managing their campaigns. Meanwhile, over here at BuzzLead, we're consistently scheduling over 200 sales meetings every month across some of the hardest niches to crack using what I consider to be the best high-ticket B2B sales system there is in 2025, which we've been actively working on for over 10 months now. So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how we're doing it and why most B2B cold email setups fail before they even hit send. All right, so the biggest issue, and actually not the biggest issue, but some of the biggest issues that people sending cold emails are facing is just the fact that they're not spending enough time building out their lead list, or they're just buying lead lists from freelancers through Upwork or Fiverr. And the lead list, might not have the best fit prospects. They might be irrelevant. They might be invalidated or invalid contacts, and their emails are bouncing. But a lot of people just don't spend enough time making sure that the people that they're targeting are actually targeted people that they should be reaching out to. Number two, they're using AI or ChatGPT to come up with generic email templates, and they're physically using that for their cold email copy and then wondering why people aren't responding. And it's because it looks like a robot or an email that millions of other people are sending them all the time. It doesn't stand out. If they're not doing that, they might be using AI way too much in the fact that they're trying to use it to personalize their emails. And they're using what I called personalization overkill, where it's just easily spottable. And it's clear that these people did not do research, but they used AI to add personalization to their email copies, and it sounds like a robot. Number four, and this is probably the biggest reason over the past year or so, is that people might be doing everything correctly, but then their emails just aren't getting delivered. They're landing in spam, and they might have done a really good job with targeting, building a good lead list. They might have a great offer. They might have really good copywriting and positioning, but all their emails are landing in spam, and they're just hearing crickets wondering why the heck is nobody responding to my emails, or cold email doesn't work anymore. So what I want to do is I want to show you how to make cold emails stupid simple, and it revolves around following these 5 pillars. Now, I'm not going to break down every single prompt that I've given here because we use a lot of AI through Claude and ChatGPT to help us orchestrate our campaigns, Perplexity as well. But I'm going to share this document so that you could copy and paste these prompts, use them at your own will, and then end up figuring out how to create a killer ass cold email campaign. So pillar number 1 revolves around positioning. That's identifying potential markets and then how we want to frame or what angle we want to position ourselves with that's going to lead us to the best potential, angle or foot in the door to get our prospects to respond to us, to give us a chance to try selling our product or service to them. So we're going to be using Claude for extended thinking for this. And the first prompt here is really just figuring out the industry or potential industries and verticals that we could be reaching out to, along with the unique challenges that each of these face as to why it makes sense for us to reach out to them. Now, if you've already got your ICP, your ideal client persona, completely dialed in, you know exactly who your best fit persona prospect is to reach out to, you could skip step number 1. The problem is most people think that they know this and they just want to go and reach out to funded SaaS companies because they have money and they think that that's where their ICP lies, when in reality there's a whole bunch of other verticals that are untapped that probably are screaming with pain that your solution can help them solve, and you'll make a lot more money if you could just find out what those markets are. So prompt number 2 is, once you figured out the potential available industries, sub-industries, and their unique challenges, is we are going to go and map out our total addressable market, and we want to essentially figure out the unique pain points and the specific roles within these organizations, and we want to qualify that they would actually be a good fit for my product or service. Claude can go out, and AI in general can go out and give you a whole bunch of stuff that in theory makes sense, but you want to go out and validate this, and that's the purpose of prompt 2, which is essentially validating these markets to make sure that they're qualified. And then it's going to give us specific pain points within these verticals and within these personas so that we know exactly which verticals to reach out to, 1, but then which people within those organizations do we want to reach out to with specific pain points that we can claw onto that's going to help us effectively position our service Which brings me to step number 2, which is crafting offers for these specific personas. So now that we figured out the best fit industries and we figured out the personas within those industries, we want Claude to go and give us some high-level offers, meaning ways that we could position our product or service to these people. And that's going to influence how we're scraping the data, where we're scraping the data, and then how we're writing our copywriting or our cold email scripts. That's going to set us up for the most success. And so you're going to plug in prompt number 3 for pillar number 1. And it's essentially going to give us 3 to 5 high-level offers amongst the best fit personas within the industries that we've determined to be the best based off our ICP validation prompt. And so all this is going to do, this is not your copywriting that you're physically going to use to send your emails. This is really just giving you ammunition that you need to brainstorm and orchestrate the best and most successful cold email campaign. And so that's going to lead into pillar number 2, which once we figured out the best potential verticals and the personas within those verticals, we want to figure out how the heck do we go out and scrape the best data now. We know who we want to get, but how do we actually go and get them? And so here we're going to be using ChatGPT, and it's going to be O3 Deep Research. And we're going to tell it to act as a lead source scout to identify all of the best potential databases for the specific markets that we've figured out to be the best ones. And we want it to basically go out and give us all of the data sources. So it could be Crunchbase, it could be Apollo, it could be Clutch, it could be store leads, but it's going to basically list out all of the best places to source the data. And then it's going to give us links and URLs so that we know where exactly we need to go to scrape these businesses. And then on top of that, it's going to rank all of these data sources from 1 to 10. And it's going to basically give us the best ones that we should prioritize, along with the ones that aren't nearly as good but still relevant. And it's going to just make the whole data mapping, total addressable marketing, data sourcing, list building process that much easier and structured. And so once you figured out where we're going to be scraping these companies from, we now want to figure out, okay, what are the specific job titles that we should be plugging into our list building tools so that we know exactly what contacts we want to scrape from within those industries. And those job titles could vary by department or persona that they actually are within and how they represent those organizations. And so you'll plug in these prompts, and now you're going to get a nice, extensive, comma-separated list that you go and plug into Sales Navigator, Clay, Apollo, Hunter, whatever your list building data source is. You're going to have a nice list of highly relevant keywords for both the companies as well as for the job titles that you could plug in. And you could just make sure that you're pulling a very rock solid laser targeted list. Now, the whole purpose with you're identifying potential markets and then just crafting the offers and then the custom targeting and data sourcing, these 2 pillars that I've mentioned, is you want to map out a big market, all of the best fit potential companies and prospects that you could be reaching out to. And then you don't really stop there. You want to refine that and make sure that you are ruling out and eliminating all the people that aren't necessarily a best fit. But essentially you want to make sure that you have a rock solid laser targeted lead list, because that's going to set you up for pillar number 3, which is deliverability. Hey guys, quick break here. I've got to ask, because there's no other way for me to grow this channel aside from you all alone. So if you enjoy my content, if you think that you're getting value out of this, then please like, comment, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends so that they could start booking more sales meetings, making more money with cold email marketing. And then if you want to learn how we could actually plug this system into your business specifically, then schedule a sales meeting. Just look in the description below. Let's have a chat. We'll see if we can help you out. If not, no worries. If so, we'd love to help you scale your business. And now let's go get back to the video. So if you have a good targeted lead list and you're reaching out to the right people, you know how you're positioning your offer effectively and doing the right copywriting scripts, which I'll get to in pillar number 4. The biggest thing and the part where most people go wrong is around their deliverability. And it's really so much more simple than people make it out to be. In order for your deliverability to be good, you need to have subdomains that you're using to physically send out your cold emails. And you need to make sure that these subdomains are not blacklisted. You need to make sure that they have DNS records that are specific to cold email marketing and just deliverability in general. So there's our SPF, DKIM, DMARC records. You need to make sure that you have enough inboxes to physically send enough emails and not send too many emails per domain. Otherwise, your deliverability is going to get shot and emails will start going to spam. But all of these things, it's complicated to set it up yourself, which is why we've realized that Premium Inboxes, it's our go-to provider for setting up Outlook and Google inboxes. You could even use this referral code here for 40% off your inboxes, but they will physically go in and they will plug in their SPF, DKIM, DMARC records. They'll do all this for you so you don't have to spend a whole weekend doing it. And they will also upload all of these email accounts to your email sequencer so you could physically send out these emails. Prior to sending emails, you need to make sure that you're doing a 2-week warm-up. So premium inboxes will go and enable that warm-up for you. And then what we're physically using to send out the emails, we have a couple of different email sequencing tools. We use smartlead.ai, and then we also use Email Bison. We like both, we love both, in fact, but we have found that Email Bison right now, as of June 2025, is no doubt the best email sequencer for deliverability. Reason being is that you get your own private US-based IP for your sequencer itself, meaning that you're not sharing an IP reputation with a whole bunch of spam email marketers out there, and you control your own email deliverability so long as that you're building a good lead list, you have a good offer, you're targeting your leads great, and you make sure that you have all these custom name records and everything set up. So keep it simple, use premium inboxes. Again, you've got that referral code right here, 40% off. Save yourself the time and the headache and just use them. Now, as far as copywriting goes, we've already kind of talked about the offer crafting and coming up with high-level offers that we could bring to the market. However, AI can go out and manipulate data, and if you tell it to just go out and write email sequences for you, they're gonna be complete trash. So without any direction, AI does not know how to write emails and tailor them to your liking accordingly. And so what that means is you essentially have to influence it and give it frameworks that it needs to follow. And so with our cold email copywriting frameworks, we really consider an email to be successful if it touches on these 4 components in some way, shape, form, or capacity. And essentially with your email script, it needs to follow, a flow like this, where you're essentially calling out something relevant. So it looks like you did your research. I noticed X about company. You're asking an engaging question that gets the person to think and live through the pain that they deal with on the day-to-day. How are you handling Y? You're following that up with the reason that you're reaching out. So you're trying to add context, build authority, and then you're backing it by social proof. So again, to just add on to the authority, we help companies like yours do this by Y, just like we've helped, competitor of yours or whoever it might be. And then you always want to have a call to action that's leading to next steps that the prospect should take if they're interested in hearing more about what you have to offer. So one thing we love doing is want to see, this playbook that we use that helped a company just like you accomplish these crazy results. And so I'll zoom in here, but this is the output of what an example email looks like if you touch on all 4 of these points. And this is one of our marketing clients who does marketing services for law practices, legal services, but it really just touches on all of these points, and it got us a meeting in a very saturated market. So you might be asking yourself, well, how do I actually touch on all 4 of these components at scale when I have a list of 5,000 prospects? And so that's where Claude comes in handy, because you could actually plug in this prompt right here, just telling it to act as a copywriter for you. And then if you give it a couple of strong email templates that we use, these are the exact email templates that we plug into Claude, and we're like, hey, go based off of this format, template, style of writing. And Claude will then go and write emails for all of your prospects based on these formats and this context, this lingo that you have given it, and then it will actually come out sounding just like you want it. A lot of people just say that AI writes bad emails, and it's because they're not directing it on how they want those emails written. And so this will allow you to essentially speak to each of the personas that you're reaching out to. So now we have research that we've done using Claude and ChatGPT. We found specific pain points, unique challenges that tie together really well with our product, service, and offer that we're bringing to the market. And now with all that context tied together with some writing styles that we want our emails to look like, Claude can go and do some incredible things and essentially write one-to-one or one-to-many emails in the manner that you want. And this is something that used to take people a whole weekend to do. Now you could have Claude go out and do it for you in the matter of 10, 15 minutes or so. But again, you need to be very specific with your prompting, and you need to give it examples of what you want the end result to look like. And then lastly is pillar number 5, which is just inbox management, and then, the reply flow, converting these interested prospects into booked sales meetings. And I've just given you a little checklist here that you want to follow. What we like to do is just have AI go out and monitor all of the responses we get from prospects and categorize them as interested, not interested, meeting request, out of office. And essentially, if we get any people who are interested, we want to respond to those people in less than 15 minutes. Because fun fact for you, if you don't respond to a prospect in the first 10 minutes of them responding to you, your chances of booking a meeting with that prospect decrease by over 50%. So timeliness is everything, and we're using AI to categorize these responses and then notify us for people that respond positively so we can respond super quickly. We're also creating subsequences, which is essentially templated responses to prospects. So if a prospect responds positively, rather than me having to craft a whole personalized, response, I could just throw them into a subsequence that'll automatically reply to those people in the span of 10 seconds. Another thing is you just want to make sure that make scheduling as easy as possible. So have a Calendly link available so that if a prospect says that they want to go out and meet, you could manually go and book that meeting for them or send them the Calendly link so they could go and schedule the meeting at their convenience. And then a bonus here is for us handling thousands and thousands of responses on any given day. It's just hard for us to go and respond to everything and have the wittiness and being sharp to respond how we want to each and every time. So we actually have Claude projects that are backed by a knowledge base where it's essentially information around my business, our clients' businesses, and if a prospect sends us a response and we're trying to figure out how to respond to them, we could actually feed that objection to our Claude projects, and Claude will generate a response for us, and all we have to do is review it, approve it, send it over, and it speeds up really the response management time. So that really wraps everything up over here. Again, this document is yours to keep. Plug in these prompts. Let me know what you think. And I guarantee you, if you actually follow these prompts to the T, you're going to see an exponential result or increase in the results of your campaigns. All right, so wrapping things up here, by now you have seen the system that we're using to book over 200 sales meetings every month for our clients across some hard niches to crack. And I'm sure you're asking yourself, well, what are the technologies looking like? What's the tech stack to actually get all this done at scale? And if that's you, that is perfect, because in this next video, we're going to do a deep dive overview into how we're plugging in specific technologies that we're using to manage these cold email campaigns at scale. So stick around. Hope to see you in that next video. And once again, if you enjoy my content, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts, and then I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.